Hello, everyone, and welcome to SDP Connect. My name is Kristianna Morales. I am the Director of Self-Determination Program here at DVU. I know we have a new link today, so we're giving a little extra time for people to find us and join us. We had a big meeting, a statewide meeting for the master plan that was about 6 hours today, so there are a lot of people who are probably tired, and one of them including is our very own Judy Mark. She said she was going to be either on her way or at the airport. So if she is able to log in, she will and kind of give you a little bit of a report of what happened at the meeting today. So we're going to start with some announcements first. We have some new trainings. If you were here at our last Connect, we let everybody know that we're splitting up. We used to have 2 Connects a month on the 2nd and the 4th Wednesdays. We are now going to have our Connect today on the 2nd as normal. And then on our 4th Wednesday, we are going to have a training called Think Outside the Box. And for that training, we're going to be stepping through the transition process. We're going to be starting with how to find an independent facilitator, all about budgets, all about spending plans, how to find the right financial management service. These trainings are aimed at participants and family members. So you have all the information that you need in order to, be part of this program. And we know there's a lot of information. So don't worry, there's lots of time for questions and answers during this. So you can come ask lots of questions. we're going to put the link for that in the chat. The other place you can get this information is our new website at sdpresourcecenter.org. And I want to introduce everybody to our amazing web designer, Casey Robinson. She is here. Hi, Casey. Do you want to say hello to everyone? Can she unmute? Oh, 1 second, see if we can get you unmuted.
Okay, there we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Hi, everyone. There we go. Hi, everyone.
So Casey not only designed our website, but she is a great artist as well. So do you want to tell them all the other things that you do?
Yes, I do. I do a variety of artwork. I do drawings, paintings, landscape photography, cloud photography, crafts, like polymer clay jewelry and handmade plush dolls, and fingerprint art magnets. Just a variety of art materials.
She is just like an all-around amazing artist. And so go to our website, see her great website, as well as there are short explainer videos in there. And that is her artwork in the explainer videos. So we love Casey. Casey just did such a great job with our website, and we still have more to come. So everybody enjoy the website. We also are announcing our conference. So we have a save the date flyer coming out for our conference. It's going to be August 23rd. It's a Saturday. It's going to be on Zoom. And the flyers are going out as a save the date because I know some people wanted to get it into their budgets. And so it has the rate on it so you can get it into the budget. And so those flyers will go into the chat if you want. Oh, they're already there. Kaylee's always one step ahead of me. So they're in the chat if you need the flyers for funding. I do want to make sure that everybody knows that we used to be vendored with all of the regional centers. So if you weren't in self-determination, you could potentially use the regional center. We moved our offices, moved out of our catchment area, and would need to re-vendor and re-courtesy vendor with all 21, and we have decided not to do that. So we kept the price really low. We want to make it accessible for everybody. If you're in self-determination program, your financial management service can pay for this. Some of the regional centers will also do reimbursement for if a family member wants to attend a training. So ask your regional center if that is an option for you too. So we want to give everybody lots of heads up so they have time to plan for that. It's going to be very exciting. And the title of the conference is Self-Determination Program, The Best Kept Secret. Because we all know it's a secret out there sometimes. A lot of people don't know about it. So we're excited for that to come. We have just a couple more announcements. One, the Regional Center of Orange County has their local volunteer advisory committee has a request for proposal out. They are looking for a provider to do a resource fair for them. So if you are a provider who is interested in doing a resource fair for that local volunteer advisory committee, we'll put the link in the chat and you can look at it. And so we're trying to help the volunteer advisory committees out if they are looking for supports or things. So we want to make the announcements that there's anybody out there who has that. And our last announcement is, so every regional center has a local volunteer advisory committee, and then the chairs of each one of those make up the statewide advisory committee. And they have a meeting coming up on February 19th. If you want any of these dates and you can't see the chat or whatever, go to sdpresourcecenter.org. We have a statewide calendar and it has all the dates and all the links for all of these. So if you ever miss something in the chat or anything, it's a great place to go. And last two little bits. Join our mailing list. If you want to know what's going on with Disability Voices United, we're very busy little bees. We're always up to things. You can choose if you want a weekly or a monthly update. We'll put the link to the mailing list in the chat if you're interested in joining our mailing list. And our last point is our website, these meetings, all of the things we do for self-determination, we do not have funding. We are a 501c3. We are a nonprofit. And so we are always looking for donations. So if what we provide helps you in any way, any sort of donation is always very welcome. We have a donate button. If anything that you could give will always help us keep up and running. So that is the last of our announcements. Kaylee, did Judy make it or did she not? Wasn't able to log in? Before we go on, I didn't want to
No, I don't see her yet.
Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
not skipping Judy. If she pops in, let me know. Maybe she can go before we do Q&A. But let me then introduce, we have two amazing presenters today. So what we love to do is share providers for all of you, so which are unique. And they work throughout the state and they love self-determination. And so I have two very different providers, but I kind of actually see them working together really interestingly. And so the first one that I want to introduce you to is Grand Care. And I'm going to let Scott explain what Grand Care is and introduce himself a little bit and tell everybody who you are. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Scott Feldstein. I work with Grand Care, and I've been with the company for 12 years. And what we do there, really briefly, is we make a touch-based platform that helps people with disabilities and others live more independently than they otherwise could do. And a little bit later, I'll show you exactly how we do that. But that's what we do. We've been around for 20 years, so we're not in beta. We've been doing this a long time. Those in the disability space may be surprised at that, but it's true that we did spend a lot of our early years focused on the senior market until some disability support agencies approached us a few years back, and then it exploded. And now our company is mainly disability services.
Are you ready for us to share your slides?
Sure.
Okay.
Let me just put the slides in the chat real quick for everyone to be able to
Oh,
get this,
yes.
and I'll share the slide.
Everybody likes to have their copies of them. So
Okay.
perfect. Thank you.
Also, please forgive me if I have to mute myself and cough. I'm at home today with a bit of a cough, so please forgive me.
All right.
That looks just beautiful. So as you can see here, we do ADL reminders, telehealth, video chat, remote monitoring, and entertainment, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. So let's take a look at how somebody might use Grand Care in their day-to-day life.
Can you hear that? Just making
Oh.
sure. Okay, perfect.
This is John. He's 25 years old. John used to live with his parents, but now he's out on his own. John used to rely on his parents to remind him to do all the little things he needed to do during his day, like teeth brushing and eating meals. But now that John is on his own, he uses GrandCare to provide these reminders and prompts. GrandCare even reminds him when it's time to take his medication, no matter where he is in the house, or if he's out and about. And when John needs anything, help is never more than a touch away. GrandCare helps John in other ways too. John's remote support team is always ready to help, and GrandCare notifies them if something needs attention. John loves playing the games, especially Bubble Popper. And he loves all of the videos. John is more independent than he ever thought possible, thanks to GrandCare and his support team. Want to know more about how GrandCare can help your organization? Book your free consultation now. The marketing team, aren't they great? So then let's go ahead and take a look at the next slide. That happens to me every time. Play it again.
There we go.
Yeah, nice, nice. So as I mentioned, GrandCare has been around for many, many years. And here's just a short list of some of the things we do on the GrandCare platform. You can see reminders and prompts. And of course, what that means is ADL prompts, med reminders, and even more sophisticated reminders that are enhanced with video instruction that we do. So as you know, many people with disabilities have to rely on somebody to prompt them to do all those things that sort of add up to a successful day. But the truth is that most people don't like having someone tell them what to do all day. And so if we can automate some of that for them through GrandCare, it immediately helps them feel more independent. It immediately it has a positive impact on relationships with staff and family. And it's just a good thing all around because when your GrandCare reminds you to brush your teeth, you feel like you're reminding yourself because that's what you are doing. You're using our technology to remind yourself. And so one of the other things we do is activity sensing. And by that, I mean wireless motion and door sensors. And these are all optional, by the way. This is just a full suite of everything we do. These are just wireless motion and door sensors that can be put in somebody's home. And potentially the idea here is that if there's unusual activity, GrandCare can detect that and automatically notify someone who can support this person, such as if they're up in the middle of the night or the front door opens at a strange time. Somebody can know about that so that they can look into that. GrandCare is also a fully featured telehealth platform. So if somebody's managing a chronic health condition at home, GrandCare can help them with that by reminding them to take their vital readings when they need to do that, and then automatically recording it for them into their GrandCare chart. And then the cherry on top is that GrandCare can then notify a family or support people that Scott's blood pressure was too high today for him, or it was too low for him today, or maybe he didn't take it at all, and you'd want to be notified about that. Of course, GrandCare does video calls, and these are point-to-point encrypted, secure video calls. They are HIPAA compliant. All video calls are logged to indicate who called who and for how long. No audio or video is ever recorded. It's completely private. And it's easy to miss, but the way that we do video calls at the touchscreen end is so simple. We try to make it as accessible as possible because there's no usernames or passwords or addresses. We don't have any of that stuff. All you need to do is touch the face of the person you want to talk to, and that's it. Of course, the other thing that we believe in very strongly is personalized content. That is to say, when somebody is going to be receiving GrandCare equipment in their home, we do an intake on this person, right? We consult with you or them or everyone involved to say, not only, when does John take his medications? and what kind of ADL prompts does he want in the morning? But also, what does he like to watch on TV? What does he do on weekends? We want to know about all that stuff. Like if I walked into his bedroom, what would I see hanging on the wall? And we will make sure that those GrandCare touchscreens have content related to all those things, because we want it to be fun and interesting and reflect the person that is using it. I think somebody is asking, is there any support staff provided for somebody that's using GrandCare? And the answer to that is not from us. We don't provide any support services at all. We're a technology company, and we like to stick to what we're good at, right? And we like others to be good at what they're good at, like family members who know somebody really well, or a disability support agency that somebody might be working with too. They can also sometimes be the person on the other side of their GrandCare. Excuse me. So as I mentioned, GrandCare automates reminders. This helps with relationships with family. I think Laura Mitchell, our CEO, is on the call. Laura, I don't think you'll mind if I tell a brief story about you and your family. Laura's youngest son has autism spectrum disorder. He's a pretty low needs guy. He's 16 years old. But he has some other health conditions that make it really critical that he take his medications on time and every day without fail. The problem here is that he hates it when Laura reminds him, hey, did you take your medication today? He absolutely hates it. And so Laura gave him a GrandCare and set up his med reminders. And she told him, I won't know what's going on because I only get notified if you didn't do it. And so that's enough for him to go ahead and take responsibility for that. And do that. GrandCare is really good for people, younger people, but older people too, who are considering graduating to a more independent setting to live in, right? So it's a young person who's maybe thinking that they want to or need to or would like to live somewhere outside of their family home. GrandCare can be a huge help to those folks. Because it's sort of what we like to see is for somebody to get GrandCare before they move, so that mom can tell them to brush their teeth and GrandCare can do it at the same time, right? So they can run in parallel for a time until that person knows what GrandCare is going to do and how it works. And that way, when they do move, there's no surprises. They already know exactly how everything's going to work. And so that really helps a lot of people. And it also, we've seen people who live in homes with other people with disabilities, for example, who want to live by themselves, and maybe they have an opportunity to do that, but they're not sure if they can. GrandCare can help people like that as well. And the idea here, I just should make this clear, that most people that receive support through the GrandCare platform are also receiving some level of in-person support in their home, right? So whether it's family or it's a disability support agency, but hopefully they can do with fewer of those in-person support hours for greater independence. GrandCare also, it brings many of the benefits of online life to people without the risks, right? Because GrandCare can receive and send letters that are very much like email, only it's cool because you can never get a spam email and you can never get an email from somebody you don't know, right? So it's completely secure and whitelisted, so it's always safe. And of course, it allows you to share photos and videos to that person's touchscreen as a way to say, hey, Scott, I found a video you're really going to like, and send me a little message on my touchscreen so I know it's there and watch it. Of course, we have a wide variety of curated videos and photographs on an incredible variety of subjects for you to choose from as a sort of shortcut to populate someone's GrandCare with things that they're interested in. Of course, I talked about motion and door sensors. I just want to tell a quick story here. This is a story about a guy who his agency, his disability support agency, was rolling out GrandCare to some of their population. And he really wanted to do it. But his support team and his family too, they were united in saying, no, he can't do this because he's a flight risk. So there's some times when he would get upset, he would trip on out the front door and run away and get lost. And it was dangerous. And for this reason, he had to have somebody there with him all the time. But he really wanted to do it. And this agency, I think quite rightly, believes in the freedom to fail. And so they said, okay. And they gave him grand care equipment in his home, and he was fine. And when they went to him later to ask why, it turns out he was running away from them. He just wanted to have some time to himself. And now that he had it, he doesn't need to go anywhere. One additional story about motion sensing. There's another guy, I've never met him, but I know about him because he received support through a grand care customer. And he is a pretty independent guy, about my age, and can do a lot of things himself. But the problem that he has is that he has a sleep-related eating disorder where sometimes he would get up in the middle of the night, he would sort of sleepwalk his way into the kitchen and then just eat a bunch of things that he shouldn't have. And it was for this reason, it was such a concern for his health and well-being that they had to have somebody in this man's apartment for the entire overnight hours. But I'm happy to say that he doesn't have somebody in his home in the overnight hours anymore because he has grand care, and his grand care has a motion sensor. And if the motion sensor sees activity in his kitchen in the overnight hours, it immediately notifies people so that they can do a video call into this man's kitchen and say, hey, Scott, it's the middle of the night. Don't you think you should go back to bed? So what I love about that is that he now has the privacy and the dignity of being alone in his home overnight that he's, to my knowledge, never had before. But also he gets the support he needs. And that man only needs 60 seconds of support. And with grand care, that's all he gets. We don't want people to be overstaffed, right? We want to be efficient about things like that. Another use for grand care is to be put into a private home where somebody maybe is living with mom and dad or other family members. But if they have grand care to give them ADL prompts and do motion sensing and all the rest of it, that can allow those parents to leave home more often and for longer periods of time because they know what's happening at home and they can do a quick video call in anytime they want just to check in. So we do see grand care used in that way too. Well, I wanted to tell you about this. I understand that most of you are family riders. You're not a disability support agency. But I just wanted to let you know that one of the first disability support agencies we began working with, they also were working with Xavier University, who did a 3-year study on the very first smart home that they built. And they put grand care touchscreens in every room and motion sensors, all the rest of it. And they did a 3-year study. It was 1 year before the guys moved and 2 years after. And so by the time they wrote their paper with all their results, we were absolutely overjoyed. And you can see why with the dramatic reduction. And that agency was safely able to reduce in-person support hours by 75%. And the guys really liked that. They were more free to carry on with their day without somebody telling them what to do, which is how people want to live for the most part. And that they reported greater satisfaction with their lives, which is another thing that Xavier measured over those 3 years. I think I'll leave it at that, and maybe we'll have questions and stuff later. Oh, but I wanted to mention, if you want to reach out to us to find out more about grand care or how it might help you and your family, please just reach out to us. You can do sales. You can do scott@grandcare.com. You can give us a call. Our website is just grandcare.com. So please reach out to us.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute there for a second. I had to be invited back in. I love this because one, I love technology. And Scott and I had this just amazing conversation about this. I have a son who's 23, and we kind of had that thing of we were trying to envision what his independent life would look like, and we were always worried, like he's another person. He doesn't need 24-hour somebody looking over him, but he needs 24-hour.
Yeah. He's 24/7 support, just not
support, exactly, not supervision, right? And so I was so intrigued by this because it kind of gave me a vision of like, hey, we could really see, and we really talked about liking the idea of one, as he became a teenager and a young man, like you said, he does not want mom reminding him of things. It's nothing more annoying than having your parent annoy you, right? And so, um, so I loved he could set it up. It's him making the reminders, and then we can work with it as he moves out. It's
Yeah.
kind of that
Yeah,
transition, the next step.
they absolutely can. Touchscreen users can make their own reminders. In fact, it wasn't long ago that I was in somebody's home. I was installing Grand Care equipment, and he told me to go kick rocks. He wasn't having any of this. But when I showed him that he could make his own reminders that would pop up all over his apartment, he was absolutely delighted because he saw right away what he could do with that.
Exactly. And I thought the homes that you showed it was so interesting. It's like, oh yay, we're coming into like the 21st century. This is I think the future. And we also have, people where we know that finding employees is very difficult to find. And when people live remote, it's difficult. And so I think this does, like you said, it not only gives the participants some independence, it gives their family members the peace of mind.
Somebody asked if Grand Care has a calendar. It definitely does. And that calendar can be managed at the touchscreen, or it can be managed remotely in the Grand Care website.
So let me ask you a couple of questions, and then we're going to go to Michelle, and then we'll do all the questions at the end. But I thought these were really specific. And one was, does your system come with other languages like Spanish or Chinese?
We're working on that. As we expand in California, we see a great need to do Spanish and some other languages as well. So we are definitely looking into that. We want Grand Care to be available to as many people as possible. Somebody asked about the price. I don't know. I don't remember what the pricing is for retail sales in California. Maybe Laura knows, or that's something that we could provide to you after the fact. But I know that we negotiated a price with Alta Regional Center. But I guess you wouldn't be getting it through them. You'd be getting it through us. But I think it would probably be a very similar price. So we can share that with you later.
And that was another question. Georgina at 440 said, are both the vendors this evening in Southern California area, or are they North California? Or can they work remotely?
So Grand Care headquarters is in southeastern Wisconsin, where I'm from. But about a year ago, I moved to San Marcos, California. I'm in North County, San Diego, because we have an office here. We have had for 3 years. So we're here. We're here to stay. So we're in Southern California. Alta Regional is actually in Northern California. So we're approaching the whole state. And hopefully and somebody asked about funding. Does Medicaid or other sources fund this, like through a regional center? The answer is we're that close to closing our vendorization with Alta Regional, and I think that with reciprocity, that may open us up to the entire state of California.
And so, most of us do self-determination program, but the key is if we can get it in the traditional system, they can increase our budget then, and then it can be paid for. But if we have a regional center and I say this every single time we meet, 21 regional centers, 21 different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
So if we have a regional center that does not want to fund it, it doesn't mean that funds in self-determination can't be used. So in
That's really important.
self-determination, they can absolutely use it. It would be under the technology service code. But remember, you would need it to be in your person-centered plan, and you would need to have a goal
Yep.
for this. And so there's definitely kind of that process, as you would for anything else, that you would need to show why this is an important piece. Harvey, how are you today? Oh, hold on, you're still muted. Oh, we need Connie to unmute him. She'll take care of it. There we go. Thank you, Connie.
This is my Vanna White. I'm Vanna White. Vanna White. You should have one. Everybody should. From Wisconsin, Eastern Wisconsin. I used to teach at Marquette.
Oh, really? Well, I'm an alum. I mean, Marquette University. I taught there as well, and I was the guy in charge of e-learning there for a number of years.
Mine was the dental school. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I worked in dental school too. One time when I was a wee lad, I did computer support in Marquette University Dental School.
Good. Well, she did graduate work there, Connie. Okay,
Ask your question.
bottom line is, this is also a health and safety thing. And I do know one thing, you can put this in your budget and your spending plan, something like this. And there's no question in my mind on that because of health and safety, not so much technology, but health and safety of the customer. So that's something what we have to, well, on a phone call or whatever, find out what the pricing is on stuff like this and go from there. But I think you can all, my son he's gonna be, he's 50, he's gonna be 57.
Yep.
Okay.
He's
Not
my
a-
age.
Okay, and my bottom line there is, some of this stuff could fit in. Unfortunately, he has a lot of staff because of his needs. And the bottom line is, sometimes you have to remember to remind the staff to do things.
Yeah,
He-
which you absolutely can do.
Right, he's quite challenged, and the bottom line is, that's what I'm thinking on this, because I'm gonna be, how shall I say it, 88 in May. So I think I gotta think of the future, whatever it is. And Connie's gonna be 11, whatever it is, and go from there. But this is good stuff. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Anna.
I'm surprised Connie didn't mute you when you were about to say her age.
I know.
Nope.
I'm gonna
All
literally-
right.
I celebrate it in Celsius, so I'm about
Yeah,
maybe
don't worry about it.
33.33.
We went to high school together, okay?
So we're going
By
to
the
go
way,
to our
in Detroit.
Awesome. So we're going to go to our next presenter, but we do still have questions for Scott. So don't worry, we're going to get to your questions. But I want to make sure that Michelle has time to present because I know you're going to have questions for her too. So I want to present Michelle Raz, and I think that there's a really interesting link between these two. Michelle, I want to let you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what your company does.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. I can see why you thought we could blend because Scott's program is a really elevated program for people that would like that independence. And while my company was founded in 2010, I'm the founder of it, and it came along because of my own needs within my own family, which is so many of us get in these journeys because of our needs. And while my daughter is very high functioning, she was really struggling with independence and specifically with executive functioning skills. And I have a slide presentation, so if you want to bring that up, please do, and then we can go. Thank you. And then also at the end, I do have a handout, which was really specific to the program. A lot of clients that we work with come in as ADHD. And the reason why I bring that up is because my overall arching program is for developing executive functioning skills. We are the boots on the ground. We are the support service that is helping them with that independence in real life, in a virtual setting. And so I got my start in 2010, and I've been national ever since. We were using Skype back in the day, and people thought, what in the world are you doing? And thank you, COVID, because now everybody does this these days. But anyway, so the main point is that I have these points. So our clients come in generally through the lens of coaching for academics. You think of the anywhere from age 12 to adulthood. The key is the weakness of executive functioning skills, and it can start with the emotional regulations, planning, following through, procrastination. And while it was really developed around the academics, and I ask you to go look at that site, we also found that our students really struggled with career development. So I have a book that I authored called Happiness, Passion, and Purpose to help students be successful despite life circumstances. So I've worked with the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation helping people become independent in the workforce by helping them with their executive functioning skills, which are so crucial to success in the workforce. So we have that transition. And so we have a whole career development piece of it. And then the Thrive Beyond Therapy that you see is something I developed. Well, it was actually through my daughter's experience, but I really brought it to life here in the last couple of years. Many of our students really struggle with those emotional regulations, and they find themselves sometimes not being able to cope with the day-to-day and need treatment, long-term therapy. And so we help them take those skills and apply them to every day. So life skills. So again, along with Scott's programming with, just being able to function on a day-to-day basis. I'm sorry, you can go ahead on to that next slide. I don't want to sit here on my who I am all day. So specifically talking again, we want to be able to help them see themselves as an independent person, right? That it's okay to fail, that we're helping them provide them with the tools to be successful with a very structured, high accountability platform program that we use. And I'll go through some statistics later. So go ahead and go on to the next slide. So I have a story of a student named Josh, and this was an interesting one. So he came as a student, and he was really struggling with his emotional regulation at the top tier, which really inhibited him to be able to even function at all at school on a daily basis. He had all the support systems in place, and he was blowing up at school, leaving school, not turning any homework in. And so I came in to help him. He was not going to graduate high school. As a matter of fact, the school system didn't understand his needs to the point to where they thought they could, for the lack of better words, beat it into him, so to speak. And so with my coaching I came in as a support system to help him navigate and work with the school so that we could have a program that would work with Josh. So if you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So through the coaching program, and like I said, it's very structured. We work with the students anywhere from 2 days to 4 days a week, and they're short. They're meant to be short because the students that we have really struggle with attention spans. And so we get in and we state the goal. We have an action plan, and then we have the accountability on the follow-up of the action plan. And so through this program and the use of positive psychology, we really want to develop them to have self-agency, to be able to advocate for themselves, to own it. And through my program, this happens. And so this particular for Josh, he was able to have confidence. He was able to go up and self-advocate for himself with some nudging, of course, and then help him navigate the resources. And I can see something even in Scott's system with somebody that doesn't need a lot of needs, making sure that they're utilizing all of the resources that are available to them. Half the time they know what it's there, it's that follow through. And the parents that we work with are ready to not have to bear that burden. And I know I always say I will pay it forward, and I certainly did with my own daughter. And so in that, we're developing these skills which take time, right? Research says it takes 66.7 days to turn a routine into a habit. And with our students, it's longer, and it might be lifelong. And as they transition through life, other transitions can regress. And so sometimes they'll take a step backwards, but we can get them back on track quicker and go on to the next phase of their life, whether it's a transition from middle school to high school to college into the career force. And so that is something that is really important for us. And in the end, he graduated high school against all odds. And he went into the workforce and became independent. And so the success stories, I could sit here after 15 years of doing this and thousands of clients, tell you success story after success stories. People that thought that they either could never have a diploma or they weren't fit for college, I have seen them come through after failure, like maybe 5 schools, and come into our program and succeed after that. So go ahead and go into the next slide. So there's hope. If I would almost say for every single student, and I hope I have my slide with my statistics. Okay, so most of us here know what executive functioning skills, but really I like to focus first on the emotional regulation piece, because if that's not in order, we can't get into planning, time management, goal setting, the organization and problem solving. They're shut down, our clients. And so it's really important to have that approach to create a safe one-on-one environment where they can be vulnerable. And so we do have a system where we have families involved. It's not a reporting, but it's more of, these are the goals, this is what we're doing. They've shown up, they haven't shown up, and then we celebrate successes. And that's really important, is that celebration piece. Okay, go ahead and go into the next slide. So what I mentioned earlier is that we really like to think of this as a blend of services. So if you can think of it as like cognitive coaching is what I like to call it, a blend of CBT, and this direct coaching, so that we can go into this and support them with some of the feedback models and direct coaching that we find is really beneficial to our clients. So the coaches that I have trained in my program, we have 13 of them right now. They are people that have come to us with either psychology, sociology, or education backgrounds. And so we don't profess to be a therapist. I think some people like to know the differences between coaching and, say, therapy. We're really about, I said earlier, the boots on the ground, taking action. If they've been in long-term therapy or treatment, they have a support system, we want to know what those tools are that they've been shared with us through either the student themselves, or we have a long intake process that we go through and we get that information. We want to move forward with the skills they already have, the tools, and then help them implement them through these action plans. And we have customized planners for those as well. Okay, go ahead to the next slide. So this is just a quick comparison, really what we're doing. So we're a blend, like I said, so we're blending the academic skills, life management or career development. We can look at their lifestyles, the finances, the health, exercise, sleep, just like managing, this wonderful program Scott has. And then we also are looking at their behaviors. That's that emotional regulation piece that's really important for us to know, that we help teach them coping strategies and actually can help them document if they're using it and when they need to use it, and reflect on that on a daily basis, so that we can start to build and rewire and strengthen, right, some of the synapses of their reaction when things happen. And we start with very baby steps, but over time we can enforce those so that they can change some of the behaviors and be able to be successful in their goals, whether it's the life goals, career goals, or academic goals. So it's a very structured, high accountability program. What's really important that they are working well with the coaches. And another piece is we let them have choices over the coaches. So we build that autonomy in there. And so they would come to us and we would give them a choice of 2 to 3 coaches that we thought, initially would work with them. After that intake, we get their personalities, and then they get to meet with the coach and be able to have some of that independence and buy-in right from the get-go. So go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay, so I think I've covered a lot of these things about what they need is this daily, I would say most of the clients, like an ADHD type client, tend to be one of the ones that go on that 4-day, but we do have some on the 2 days. but it's really important to build that consistency over time with the routines so that we can have change in behavior. So again, this is an ongoing support, and as they mature into different aspects of their life, they won't need support in one area, it might be replaced. And do we have students graduate from this? Absolutely, yes. And then I've had students that come for academics, then come back later in life for career development, and then come back later just for some life skills. We all need help in different areas of our lives. And our clients, when they have a relationship and they come back, they want to come back, they feel heard, they know it works, and they feel supported. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so this is where I can get into our statistics. I'm really, really proud of these, and actually they're actually higher than this, but I don't want to overpromise, because we look at them from semester to semester, all of our clients, whether they're academics or they're what we call next step students after therapeutic sessions and life skills. So 94% feel more organized and independent with 2 months of starting our programs. So we have our students do self-assessments. So every couple of months, they will be asked to do this. So this is directly from them. And then the 93% are passing all their classes after a semester of college coaching. That's actually at the college level and is a little higher at the high school level. So it really is important to be able to see that the structure that we provide and the accountability, and I mean accountability in a very positive way. We have a technique where the student really wants to be held accountable. In order to be independent, they need to be accountable to themselves. And so therefore they can be independent. And through our process, this is what we can show you in the results. It's tremendous. And I've shared these results with different institutions that we work with. Okay, go ahead into the next one. Okay, so this is just an example. People don't always come in this way, but for us, you might come in and take we call it an EFS quiz, an executive functioning skill quiz. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So we can identify, because our students or our clients are all individuals, and some people are more inclined to be, in the emotional regulations. And other ones are really, really time blindness, and some have it all. So anyway, we can concentrate on that. And then we have a thorough intake process. And I mentioned this earlier, where we went with their background. If they have any assessments, if they're on medications, we want to know all those things up front so that we can help planning in the future and state their goals. We want the goals from the client. So this is where the self-determination is a beautiful thing, because we want to be in line with what their goals are. It's not our goals for them. And then we create a focus plan, and we have a tremendously wonderful woman that does our focus plans, who has a mental wellness background. And then from that, they go in to do the coach matching process based on what they want, set their goals, and then they start their sessions. And then, of course, the transformation. And we like to look at them at 90 days to see where they've come at. And that's where we're getting our statistics. And then we have a very high quality assurance process. That is why we're able to get those results back. And one thing I want to add here is that right now I'm really excited that I'm developing a platform specific to our own company, Raz, for executive functioning skills that will have AI implications for automations of so many things, for reminders and planners and trackers. And so I'm working right now, day and night. I'll probably be working tonight on that to help, and that'll just be exclusive to our clients. So that's kind of something that's really going to be fun and just complement what we already do. And we'll have a knowledge base that'll just be from my knowledge. I've got 15 years of experience with about 130 articles, maybe 100 podcasts and interviews. And so it's getting dumped into a knowledge base where that'll be available to our people as well. Okay, so this is it. Yeah, so if you guys were interested to learn more, please visit Raz Coaching. I'm actually, that's going to be the main portal. But coaching academics, if you're interested in the academic piece, Thrive Beyond Therapy. And then if you want, see me and where I'm involved, I'm pretty heavily involved in LinkedIn. So you can go on there and you can see what I'm about. And then, of course, if you want to book a call and just learn a little bit more, feel free to jump on that Calendly link. You can also do it from the websites. And then the flyer that we have on the is specific. It's called the Mosaic Minds, and that's specifically for our students that are either ADHD, autism blend, or just straight up autism that utilize our academic services.
Michelle, thank you so much. And I think that when we spoke, one of the things that I liked so much about it was it's not a one size fits all, that when you were so good about saying, oh, we would try this and this didn't work and we would go this other direction. And then you had all these tools in your toolbox to, make it so individualized, which is what self-determination is all about. And so that's so much why I was so impressed with when we spoke. We have some great questions for you. So I'm going to ask you a couple.
Sure.
Here. The first one was from Becky at 509, and she said, for school-aged consumers, would this be something that needs to go through the school for funding first before a self-determination program? Well, that actually might be a me question.
Yeah.
But let me answer that one, which is, it's really going to depend on your person-centered plan and what your goals are around this. I would say, I would not call this tutoring or those kind of things, because that then gets you involved with school as a generic resource, makes it a little bit more difficult. What I would say is focus on all the things that Michelle was talking about. What are all those other skills around it? The independence, the regulation, there's so many other things in there, how I would describe these things. And so that's really how I would be looking at describing it as you're looking to get it added to your budget. And again, similar to what we were talking about with Scott's, even if your budget is not increased for these things, your budget is a total dollar amount. So you take that dollar amount and you say, well, I want to spend some of mine on this. And because this would fit, again, dependent on what your goals are, probably around 320 service code is where I would see it land, because that has the most flexibility. And so I think that's really where it goes. So when you have questions about whether it can be paid in self-determination, it's dependent on the individual's goals, their needs, and how well they align to these services. So go and look at the service code definitions on the DDS site, because that's the best place to really look and see, okay, this is where it fits. This is how I see, this is my goal, and this is what it fits into. So sorry.
And if I could just add in there, so, and I could have went on with, a lot of people will confuse what we do with, it's very structured, direct coaching. It's not independent, open-ended questioning coaching. So it's a very strong niche. I am a board certified coach, and so I understand the whole coaching. It's really important to differentiate so we are not therapists, and I went down, explain that a little bit, and we're not tutors, and that's really different as well. We're a good blend. As a matter of fact, we might have a student that needs a tutor. And so if you can think of it this way, is a tutor is really knowledgeable about one specific subject that's going to help them and teach them about that subject. So if you can really think about these executive functioning skills, the coaching is around, we're helping them to refine, define, and develop those, look them up, the 8 executive functioning skills. And I listed those in a previous slide, but, just running down, I always start with emotional regulation. Always, I have a whole training. Our coaches go through a 30-day training with us, and they don't get really released until about 90 days to go in, just because it's so complex and this approach that I developed. But it's really important for those executive functioning skills, emotional regulation, time management, procrastination, short-term memory, and I could go down the list, but you can look them up online really easily. But that's really what we're about, is those executive functioning skills.
Perfect description. That, like, you're not going to be teaching them algebra.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I think that's
But
the
what we might do is look at the rubric, like I'll have students with, we do have teacher backgrounds and a lot of,
Mhm.
it's my own was personally was as well. But they may look at the rubric and look at the assignment, but they're not going to tell them how to do that assignment. But the accountability, did you look at the rubric? Did you read the rubric? Let's read the rubric, in that educational setting. And the same thing with career development. We might look at, one of the things I have from my book is, what do employers look for in a good employee? And so we'll go down that list and look at that, and then let the client fill in and look at areas and try to define what areas they need to work on. So we're really helping them, guide them. And I tell students, clients that, it's like your shadow. I'm always with you. I'm not in front of you. Well, it depends on the time of day with the shadow, right? But not pulling you forward, pushing you from behind, but partnering with you to help you get to those goals. And so we're really not giving them the information, but rather helping it come out from within. Yeah. Through a structured way. It's very, very direct, very structured.
Well, and I think that fits with the next question, which Mary asked at 5:10. Does Raz work with young adults? My son is 23.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. My oldest client, I think, was 71. Yeah.
I think we all need work on our executive functioning, right? And at different ages, you need different things. I think, and I love that you had pointed out, that you've got people who come back to you at different stages in life.
Yeah.
And that it is so key. Like what you needed in school may be different from what you need in the workplace.
Absolutely.
Or
And
even at home, right?
Absolutely. And I must add here really quickly is that I say ages 12 on up because usually around age 12, the student or the child wants to be independent. Then I've had many people ask me, what about the young ones? And so I've done some parent workshops around that, and we're actually launching a parent group specifically for parents. And so that's something, reach out to me directly. I think I have my email up there, but Michelle@razcoaching.com. And I have a list of people for that parent group, just a support group, honestly, where we'll have a very minimal structure to it, but support in it as well, for any parent at any age, but specifically for the young ones, because what happens is that my framework doesn't really work for that independence, but I can teach the parent how to do it in the home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sandra, go ahead and unmute.
Hi, good evening. So people are learning how to use the Zoom here, and I don't know why I'm getting them, but I'm getting some direct questions about this. And one of the questions is, what is the difference between what you offer, Michelle, and like ABA?
Okay, yeah. So what we're doing here is developing those executive functioning skills through their real life experiences and what they would like to do within themselves, where they are the expert of themselves. So that it's just like with the self-determination program, it's really about what will work for them. So we're not telling them what to do or going and telling them to go practice anything, but rather helping them navigate the tools that are already given to them. So if they're in a program and there's a tool that they feel works for them and they want to implement it into their action plan, we'll help support that and track that for them. Does that make sense?
And then
yeah.
Sandra had another question actually for Scott, which was at 4:59. Are any self-determination program participants already having this covered by their spending plans and their financial management services?
To my knowledge, no. I think that we're cutting edge right now, us right here. So we're going to be the ones to do it.
Yeah,
so gotta go.
We're going to get it started here. But you've been doing this in other states, and so we just need to get it here.
I spent so much of my time flying around the country, onboarding new agencies and meeting people that are using Grand Care equipment that sometimes I'm barely home. So there are some regions that are really, really into it and have no problem with paying for it 6 different ways, and other states where they don't seem to have a way to do it yet. But we've been working with the state of California, and we feel really good about where we are now, especially with you and also with the regional centers.
Nicole had asked, she wanted to know if you have your vendor number for the regional center. Did you say that you were vendored with ARC, was it, or?
It's Alta, and I don't really know what the status of that is, but my understanding is that it's the final stages. We're just waiting for them to tell us it's all good. But we've done a multi-step process with them, and they actually approached us to do this. So they know who we are. They thought they would sail it through, and it looks like that's going to happen.
Wonderful. So Nicole, check back again with your regional center. Again, you won't necessarily need to know their vendor number. You can ask about it specifically, and so they'll have that. And then Becky at 4:45 asked Scott, "Is this on an iPad?"
No, it's not. Grand Care touchscreens are big. They're not mobile devices. They are 17.5 inches diagonal. And they're stationary appliances. They plug into the wall in your home, and that's where they live. So they're always in the place where you expect them to be. And we do the size that we do just to, frankly, make them more accessible.
Easy to see, easy to push,
And
right?
since we collect in many cases people's private health information on Grand Care, we can't have angry birds, maybe trying to share that. We own the device. That device is ours. It runs our software, nothing else.
Oh, that was something we talked about too, of the there's a control what can go onto it. You can put games because you talked about games, but it's not all games, and so there's also kind of that a little bit of safety in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a walled garden. And that's what if people want to have open access to the internet, they're going to have other devices to do that. But Grand Care doesn't do that. I just wanted to mention one other thing that you might not know, and I don't think I mentioned it, but that everyone who works at Grand Care in New York, in Wisconsin, in California, all of us have Grand Care in our homes. We don't view this as a tool for people with disabilities. It's for everybody. And so when I got up this morning, I got a med reminder just like thousands of other people did. Just wanted to let you. So we eat our own dog food here at Grand Care.
I think I need that too. I'm the one who like gets up and can't remember whether I took it or not. I'm getting to that age. So, Destry, go ahead and unmute.
Hi, Scott. Yeah, when you were mentioning that device, I was wondering, can my program No Rises can use that, to work with their consumers, in their group home, and I don't know how you guys set it up, or you teach them how to the staff, like the nurses that they have, and the living staff to let them know that to take care of themselves and stuff like that with the consumers.
Yeah, thanks for the question, by the way. That's a really good one. If I understood you correctly, you're asking if your agency who provides housing or provides support in that house can use Grand Care to support the people that live there. And the answer is yes. That's usually the way it's done. That we sell the support agency or the housing agency, and we train them how to do it, and then they offer it to whomever in their world wants it.
What about those who are independent?
I'm pretty independent. I use Grand Care too. Everybody uses Grand Care in a different way. I'm not here to tell people how they should and shouldn't use it. If you like the fun videos that are on there, then good for you. I like my med reminders because, like Kristianna, I won't know if I did it or not if I don't check it off. So everybody has their own thing, I think, that is most helpful to them. And if people live independently, that is, they don't have any or very little in-person support hours, that they're great candidates for using Grand Care, actually.
And I think it ties in so much with Michelle and executive functioning, because it's the start behaviors too sometimes, right? And it's knowing and those prompts and knowing what you need. Um, uh, Michelle, there was a question from Irene at 512. Do you have coaches for any disability, or do you specifically work with?
Yeah, so this is kind of funny. I'm going to go back to my history. In the early years, I was strictly called ADHD. And then I realized quickly that the clients that were coming to me had other challenges, but the common thread was executive functioning skill deficits. And so with that, I would say that anybody, whether you are, we've had so many different types of clients, ADHD, autism, anxiety, depression, OCD, you name it. If they're challenged with executive functioning skills, it's getting in the way of reaching their goals, our program will work for them. So it's specific to that. Now, the approach for each one, like we talked about, is very individualized. And so it's important to have the coaches with the appropriate background that matches with the client's needs at that time. But they're all still working through my framework. And so the answer is, it can be anybody that's challenged with executive functioning skills, even if it's, somebody has a concussion, and that could be a client. I've certainly had those, encephalitis. But that's the key, is the executive functioning skills.
And I think we had 3 questions from Mulugeta, Deborah, and Maria. All wanted to know, what areas do you serve?
Are you talking about locations?
Yes. What locations?
Well, to be honest with you, it's worldwide. We've had clients everywhere because we're 100% virtual. We have our, just like Scott's program, HIPAA compliant private platform and messaging system. And it's 100%. And so we meet through our video platform. And even when I was just a sole person doing this on my own, I moved away from in person, because we meet the students where they're at, and the original, academic students, and they prefer that environment. So anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection.
There you go. And then Carmen at 521 asked, is there an age limit for academic work?
No. Mm-mm.
That's a great question, because sometimes we've got, people at all different levels, at different ages, working on different levels of academics. So that's great.
Any age, and it doesn't matter. I've had professors from universities that were late life diagnosed autism, and they had struggled with certain areas of the executive functioning skills. So it really isn't, it's open, yeah.
Sandra, go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. So Scott, you said that Grand Care is vendored with Alta California.
Cross your fingers, we're about to be, yeah.
Okay. Ms. Raz, are you seeking vendorization with any of the regional centers?
At this time, I'm not. I think the appropriate place, and I think, Kristianna, we talked about that, would be the self-determination. Now, with that said, so I am a California certified small business, also just got my SBA WOSB, which is a Women-Owned Small Business Federal. We'll see what happens with that, with all these changes going on. But I am a vendor with California and like Visions in Education, so the homeschool groups. So we're working and we're open to that, but I believe the self-determination would be our home for this particular place, from what I understand.
Sure. And it actually does. And my adult son actually, in his spending plan, part of his plan, he does have a different type of more specific life coach. The coach is a great guy, but it would not make sense for him to be vendored with a regional center, because that would kind of lock him into a program, and that would vacuum up a lot of time that he could be spending, serving people. But for Scott's program, being vendored with a regional center gives you more cred
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
other people. But the other thing that you need to know, Scott,
Mhm.
is vendored with one regional center is enough unless there's traditional services that you're trying to meet at other regional centers. Otherwise, everybody on the self-determination program can work with you. So you don't have to worry about whose catchment area you're in. So, so that was really my question. And I see some questions in the chat about, what service code would people use for this stuff? And Kristianna already said, go look at the list. So because there's different ways, like Harvey said, this could be, health and safety, this could be, technology there, so there's already a bunch of service codes we could use for Scott's. But for Michelle's services, I know mine is 331. So, especially since we're not putting labels on it like therapy. So, thanks.
I think Alta, if I understand correctly, they went to San Diego Regional Center and asked them, they gave them first right of refusals. Do you want to onboard these guys or should we? And they said, yeah, you can go ahead and do it. So that's why we did what we did. But yeah, there was some talk of reciprocity there so that it would essentially open us up to much of the state of California in time.
So you can courtesy vendor with the rest of them. So it's a much easier process. So you don't have to worry about the full vendorization process. And I think what Sandra was hitting on, which I think is really important, is when you vendor and you provide a service, you have to have a program plan and you have to stick to that program plan and you lose a lot of flexibility. And so I'm so excited that Michelle's like, no, I'm a self-determination, we like that flexibility oh, Sandra, go ahead. I think, hold on one sec. There you go.
So, Scott, there's a lot of exciting things going on in Northern California with housing and developing group housing and stuff like that, that your program would be perfect for. I went to the Supported Life Institute conference back in October, and there was a regional center talking about their housing development and how they're looking to utilize a system similar to yours. And I believe it was Alta California that was talking about it. So yeah, there's really, really super exciting application for your program for the Grand Care. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it's utilized. And as the regional centers throughout the state look into this housing development that they're looking at in Northern California, I think there's just massive room for growth. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. That's really cool to know that. I know some of the providers up there that I've met at conferences. I knew that we were on the right track when Laura and I were in the car on our way to Anaheim last year for the conference there. And we got a call in the car. And it was our guy there at Alta saying, hey, I figured out how to get you guys paid for, and we'll vendorize you and do all the things. And so they're really on board. So we like them a lot.
Harvey, you had your hand up. Do you want to go? No, you're good. Oh, hold on. You're muted. Oh, you're good? Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, he's good.
Okay.
We could talk about
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure the oldest people on this call, and you have
We
to
could
forgive
talk
us.
about it.
Mary wanted to know, Michelle, what financial management services are you working with now?
Are you talking about payment plans? It's private, currently it's private pay. Or like with Visions in Education, it's a vendor type of relationship there. So right now I'd say 80% is private pay.
But do you have self-determination program clients currently?
I do not. That's
Oh,
why.
okay. Well, we're going to work on that.
Yeah,
We're going to fix that. And so, the signing up to be paid we have 22 financial management services. We have 2 in the queue that I think are coming down the line. It is not like vendoring for a regional center. It is not that huge process. It's a much simpler process to get set up. So that's good to know.
Good.
And oh, Faith asked an interesting question to you, Michelle, at 5:38. Your services make me wonder if AI is in the future for executive functioning.
Can you say that again? What about AI?
If your services make me wonder if AI is in the future for executive functioning supports.
Absolutely. That's what I'm developing right now. So with the AI, I'm really excited about that, and I won't spend too much time on that, but absolutely that is going to be something, but it will not take away from that humanistic, creative, thought-seeking accountability one-on-one the coaches. So I'm seeing it as somebody that's highly independent that can use those AI apps that we're developing individually. That's great. And then it can elevate depending just like our programs, we can have group coaching, light coaching, and regular like 2-day a week, 4-day intensive coaching. But yes, I'm really excited. I really want an avatar of myself. But we're a little ways away. And this knowledge base AI app that I'm creating, it's going to be an avatar of myself on the website. It's I just need to make sure it's contained and it doesn't go out. They promised me it won't go out onto the web. It just needs to be self-contained, and that would be amazing with certain clients. I think we'll have an array of offerings in the near future, not that far.
I love that. And oh, Scott, I think you probably already answered this, but Julio at 4:50 wanted to know if you travel outside of the United States, will the system work for other countries when you're on vacation?
Yeah, absolutely. They don't allow me to travel outside the United States, but you're welcome to do so. As long as you got the power cord that's going to adapt to your location where you are and have Wi-Fi or other internet sources that you can use, no problem. Yeah, in fact, we've always had people that take it on vacation or take it when they visit their brother for a week or, all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's really easy to do that.
And then Casey at 4:55 said, it's like 24/7 background support. I thought that's a great.
Yeah, I mean, the way we think about it is that remote support is mostly invisible, right? It's with people sitting in the office with their laptops, with their smartphones, waiting for something unusual to happen in my apartment that might require their attention, or for me to reach out to them and say, "Hey, I need help with this. I'm making something on the stove and I'm stuck now. I don't know what to do. And can you help me do that?" So that's what they do. It's always there, but it's remote support is just a lot more private.
Valdemitra, do you want to unmute?
Yes, hi, thank you. First question is statement is for Michelle. My daughter is she's 35. She'll be 35 April 2nd. And right now I do have her in a program a little similar to yours, but what really intrigued my interest with yours, what you said that you have little short periods, because with the program that she does now, she does become so overwhelmed because they keep her for like 2.5 hours. She went from not dealing with people to now she has to see these people that she doesn't really want to see for 2.5 hours. And the other day they came and picked her up and took her to their office because they have been doing it virtually. They wanted her to get out and whatever, which is overwhelming for her. And, with me, she broke down crying, says just too much, but with them, she's not telling. So I really appreciate the point you said. You help them to be positive, help to build their confidence and all of that. Our budget ends June 30th. So I want to know, is there a waiting list so that maybe I could get her on for July 1st with this program?
We would absolutely be able to, work with you on that. And obviously I'm new to, the whole system of how it works with self-determination. So, and I'm hoping that it is really quickly, but it's something that we would most definitely do. And summertime is a great time, especially if you're doing life skills, because the academic load is less for the coaches that have that. And then we have more of those life skills or strictly executive functioning skills, or some of the what we call next steps after treatment. But on a note on your daughters, that kind of hurts my heart to hear that.
Mine too.
We really meet them where they're at. We have clients that don't want to be on camera, and they start off with not being on camera, but then through the coaching relationship, and it's really important to have these relationships, that they choose to turn the camera on for maybe the last 5 minutes or every other session. And then pretty soon it's every session. They have to feel comfortable and relatable to that person. And that's really, our coaching and the difference of that. Like I said, I've been doing this for 15 years. If you look me up, just Google me up on the, on the internet, and you'll see the different areas that I'm part of a worldwide organization. I presented in Chad, in LA in November for innovative programs. I'm actually writing a article for their Attention magazine here coming up in 2 months about AI and education. But anyway, I would say that I only say that because my program works. I've been doing this for a really long time, and it's really important to meet that student where they're at, and then build from there. Well, if their end goal is to be social and develop their interpersonal skills, what does that look like to get there? What tools do they already have with the therapeutic and programs they've been in, and which ones do they like and want to apply? And then what do they want to be held accountable for? And we have planners, and I have a color coding system to be able to get them to that goal. But it's a soft approach. I call myself the velvet hammer. I've said that with my coaches in the training, because you can be very soft, but be very consistent over time. And also, coaching is about listening to your clients, and we're not telling them. There's a piece that we do. We have a direct coaching. So it's a mix of indirect and direct coaching. But anyway, I'll get on my soapbox about that, but please reach out, and we would absolutely
I will.
with you ahead of time and have it all ready to go when you're ready.
Okay. Thank you. And Scott, I'm going to look into your system too. Thank you.
Thanks. That's great.
Right. She's not on her own yet. She's still with me, but at some point, we hope to get there.
Yeah, have a
Okay.
look at our website and then maybe give us a call at some point.
I will. Thank you.
And Michelle, if you need any help getting set up with FMSs, you got my number. We'll
Yes, I
get
do.
you set
I'm
up.
calling you. I'll be emailing you tomorrow.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to. We need all the providers we can get.
Yes.
So I don't even know what this means. You probably will. So the question was from AGC at 5:30. When you say board certified, are you ICF, International Coaching Federation certified, and PAAC, part of the Professional Association of ADHD Coaches?
So all of this is yes, and no. So anyway, so back in 2008, I was trained ICF and specialty training in ADHD and mentor training in ADHD with a bunch of other things on top of that as well. So as far as ICF training hours, I probably have 300. As far as like hours, probably 10,000. I don't know. If you were to calculate it in the ICF, you have ACC, PCC, MCC. I would be equivalent to the MCC level. And that's the International Coaching Federation. And so the coaching in general, you don't have to have a specific credentialing. Although I will say, if you're like, I'm on Psychology Today, you can find me on there. And that's because I have a BCC, which is a board certified coaching certification. And that's through the Center for Credentialing and Education, CCE, which is more geared towards therapists and businesses. And because of the scope of what I do, I hung my hat there. Although when I renewed, I just had to renew. All of my training comes in from the ICF, International Coaching Federation. And I will continue to stay BCC. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be doing my own licensing for coaches for training for my program because I go back so far with this. Back in the beginning, whoever this was must know about ICF, and maybe they're a coach. which is wonderful. It's a blend, and I am purposely a blend. I was part of the Edge Foundation for many, many years and advised them on how to make that even better. Took it from a 1 hour coaching to twice a week coaching. Coaching needs to be an indirect to be true coaching. I kind of termed this thing, don't know if it was me or somebody gave it to me maybe 14 years ago, direct coaching, because I take a direct approach with executive functioning skills. And so therefore my program through and through, although this last training I did, it's changing a bit. They wouldn't recognize anything direct coaching. It needed to be indirect coaching. And I have my own format. So I hope that answers it. But all I can say is, you can see, I'm part of all those organizations, ACO, CHAD, been a part of CHAD from the very, very beginning. So yes, lots of ICF training, but I wear my hat with as a board certified coach.
So clearly somebody who knew what all of that meant.
Yeah, anyway, you could go down that road of all those, but it's a wonderful organization. I will always do my training through ICF. Yeah.
And then we had a couple people ask your rate for services. And I think you might have already answered that to meet with you. Is that what you had said?
Well, yeah. So the different, basically it starts out like a group coaching would be, I think it's $149 for like a group coaching program. If somebody that doesn't really, more of a sampling, up to $1,000 per month. Sorry. And we always go out in a month. So whether you're just doing group coaching, individuals, we have different tiers from 150 to 400, 649, up to 995. But it's all on the website too. You can go see.
Well, and
it's
check us out.
So it's subscription based month to month. But I'll tell you, I've worked with the Department of Vocational Rehabilitation, and I'm not sure about the self-determination program, but those were 3-month contracts, and then you would renew after those. So that would be something, we have to look at individually.
So we are finishing right on time. We have 2 minutes, and I have 2 questions left. One was from Becky at 540 saying, how long is the coaching program?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I think I just answered this. So we go month to month. Typically, if it's a student, they usually go, for the academic school year. If it's next step coaching, it's about 3 months, and life coaching can be about, around 3 months. But then I hate to say it, I've had client up to 8 years before because of all the transitions in life. And that was me personally many years ago. But that would be more of a better, anywhere from 3 months to a year. And then we certainly have students that come back year after year through their academic career.
Well, and I like that you said like where they are in their life. There's no set time like of how long it takes anybody to do anything, right? So it sounds like you guys will work with what people need.
Yeah, we'll have a student come back, do really, really well, try a semester on their own and go, whoops, I think we need you back. Or they might do it for a month and go, white flag, come help again. So it really depends. And I've had other people that graduate after a semester and they were failing, and then they're on honor roll, and I could tell you story after story about those kinds of things.
And they're like, we're good. I got it. Right. That's the dream.
Right.
So we're wrapping up now. I want to thank both of you so much for coming and sharing your amazing programs. I see the future of where we're going with services for people with disabilities. And I see a very bright future. It's individualized. It's promoting independence. It's using technology. So I just thank you both so much for coming and sharing. Everybody, their links and their information are in the chat if you need them. And I want to thank our interpreters for being here. We appreciate you all so much. We know these aren't easy to interpret, so thank you for being here. And thank you to my team for keeping us all on track today. So don't forget, we don't have our normal Connect on the 4th Wednesday. We're doing our training, and it is a different link. If you do want to come to that, go to our website, sdpresourcecenter.org. Plus, you'll get lots of reminders and emails if you're on our email list. And have a wonderful evening, everybody.